everyone, today I will explain you how to solve linear system by elimination method. In this case, remember we are going to try to eliminate one of the variables because in a system we have two variables. Can be x and y, c and d, y and c, any variables, but need to be two variables. So we are going to try to eliminate one variable, and when we eliminate this variable, we are going to get the value for the second variable. When you get the value for the second variable, we are going to substitute this value in one of the functions, and then we are going to get the value for the second variable. And this one is going to be the solution for the system. But before to start with the explanation, you have to remember that opposite number. 3, the opposite of 3, it's negative 3. The opposite negative 3, it's positive 3. When we add opposite numbers, always we are going to get 0, and this is the idea for linear system by elimination, to get the same value in one of the variables to eliminate the same value but with different signs or with opposite sign. So in this case, as you can see, we have 2c plus 3d equals to 12 and c plus 2d and equals to 7. The first step is to choose what variable do you want to eliminate. So you can choose c or d, whatever you want. And then when you have the idea what variable do you want to eliminate, we are going to try to get the opposite values. So in this case, for example, we have 2c, and how are we going to do this one? Look, in this one, I'm going to choose the variable c to eliminate, okay? So, but I have 2 here and I have 1. So these 2 and 1 are not opposite. So I need to do something to get negative 2 in this value. So I'm gonna multiply the second function, the whole functions, by negative 2. Why by negative 2? Because when I finish to multiply negative 2 by all this function, I'm gonna get opposite value in the letter c. We're gonna follow the idea of a distributive property, but it's not a specific distributive property. So we're going to multiply this times this times this, and finally the negative 2 times positive 7. And the first one we are going to copy, okay? So we are going to have here, I'm just gonna copy this one, and we're gonna have the first one we already copied, okay? We copied the same function, but in the second one it's gonna change. Negative 2 times c is going to be negative 2c, okay? Because negative 2 times c, it's negative 2c. Negative 2 times positive 2, it's going to be negative 4d. Negative 4d. And negative 2 times positive 7 is going to be positive, in this case, negative 14. Okay, now as you can see, we already have the variables to eliminate. In this case, in the variable c, we get opposite values. So we are going to add, or it says subtract, in this case 2 minus 2, it's going to be 0, so we eliminate this variable. And we get the first objective. Now what do we need to do with the rest of the numbers? We need to add or subtract them. So in this case, we're going to have 3d minus 4d, it's going to be negative 1d, equal 12 minus 14, it's negative 2. Remember, the variable need to be positive, so we are going to divide by negative 1 both sides to get the variable as a positive 1d by negative 1. Remember, we divide by negative 1 because we have to try to keep the equality in the function, or in the equation in this case. So it's going to be d equal negative 2 divided by negative 1, it's positive 2. And we got the value for d. Remember, negative 1 divided by negative 1, so it's positive 1. So and we cancel them. Now, finally, we are going to have the value for d. So the value for d, it's going to be 2. This value we are going to use in the second step. So wait, look at this. In the second step, you have to go to the original system and you have to choose one of them. You can choose the first one or you can choose the second one. In this case, I'm gonna choose the second one because it's better. Why? Because as you can see, we need to find the value for c, and c it's without coefficient. So I'm gonna copy c plus 2d equals to 7. In the information set, choose one of the function I already choose and replace the value got it in step 1. What is the step 1? Is this one. What value did I get? D equals to 2. So I'm gonna replace this value in the second function. So it's gonna be C plus 2. And what is the value for D? Here we have, it's going to be positive 2. Equals to 7, and then we solve this one as a normal linear equation. So it's going to be C equal 7. Remember, 2 times 2 is 4, and it's positive. We move to negative. Then we're gonna have C equals 7 minus 4, 3, and we have the second value for the second variable in this case. So it's going to be positive 3. And we already have the values for the system. Finally, we are going to write our solution. Our solution is going to be C, comma D. Okay, so value for C is 3 and value for D is 2. And this is the answer for our system. So remember, it's important to write a solution because this one, if you simplify in the linear system, you're gonna get, for example, if you simplify, what's the value for C? It's 3. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 3 times D. What is the value for D? It's 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. That's a way that you can prove if your answers are correct. You substitute this value in the equations, or in the functions in this case. And the solution is going to be CD equal 3, 2. This is the value for the system. Now, I'm going to continue with another 2 examples and we're going to follow the same idea. Okay, so in this case, we're going to have in the second step, we're going to do, remember, always 2 steps, because with 2 steps, we're going to solve this system. In the first system, in this system, we already have 2x plus 3y equals to 12, 2x minus 3y equals to negative 8. We are going to try to eliminate one of the variables. But in this case, as you can see, 3 and negative 3 are opposite, so you can eliminate. So we're going to copy this system and we are going to eliminate, we are going to skip the step 1. And we are going to eliminate this value. Look at this. Because 3 minus 3 is 0. And we're going to work just with the rest of the variable. So in this case, I choose y to eliminate. So I'm going to have this value. So 2x plus 2x is going to be 4x. So we have 2 plus 2 is going to be 4x. And 12 minus 8 is going to be positive 4. Then we divide by 4 both sides to have the value for the x. And then 4 divided by 4, it's 1, or only x, equal 4 divided by 4, it's equals to 1. And we got the value for x, so it's going to be 1. Now remember, in the second step, you have to substitute this value to get the value of the second function, or the second variable. We're going to choose one of this one. In this case, I'm going to choose the second one. You can choose the first one if you want. In this case, I'm going to choose the second one. 2x minus 3y equals to 12. Equals to negative 8. And remember, we are going to replace the value for the step 1. Okay, in the step 1, we get that the value for x is equals to 1. Okay, so we are going to solve this one. We're going to have 2 multiplied by the value for x, that is 1, minus 3y equals to negative 8. Then 2 times 1, it's 2, minus 3y equals to negative 8. Then we're going to have negative 3y equal negative 8 minus 2. Minus 2, because remember, this is positive 2, we move to negative 2. Then we're going to have negative 3y equals to negative 10. Then we need to divide both sides by negative 3 to get 1 in the variable. So here's going to be by negative 3. And finally, we're going to have y equal 10 over 3. And this is going to be the value for the y. Okay, so remember, first step is to substitute the value for x that we got here. Second step is to multiply, and then you're gonna arrange. You're gonna do the normal procedure for normal equation, and finally you're gonna have the answer. So it's going to be y is equals 10 third. It's important to write the solution for the system. Okay, in this case we're going to have x and y, so we are going to use the solution. And this is the solution for this system. In this case we are going to write x and y because we have the variables x and y, and the value for x, remember, it's 1, and the value for y is 10 over 3. 10 over 3. And this is the solution for this system. It's important to write the solution because with the solution you're going to identify what is the value for the system. Okay, so this is the value. Now I'm gonna explain this exercise, the last one. This one, remember, if first we need to choose what variable to eliminate. In this case I'm gonna choose in the system I don't have a specific variable to eliminate, so you can choose x or y. I'm going to choose x to eliminate. So in this case, as you can see, -3 and +2 are not opposite. So we are going to try to do these numbers opposite. How? The first one we are going to multiply by 2. The first one we are going to multiply by 2, and the second one we are going to multiply by 3. By the opposite of the numbers. Okay, for example, here we have the first one will multiply by these 2. The second one we multiply by 3, but with +3. Okay, so how are we going to have this one? We're going to have 3 times 2, 3 times -4, and 3 times 2. And then 2 times 3, 2 times 5, and 2 times 1. Okay, and our new system is going to be with this multiplication. We're going to have 2 times -3, it's going to be -6. 2 times 5 is going to be 10. And 2 times 1 is going to be 2. Remember, we multiply the 2 by this, this, and this. Then 3. 3 times 2, 6. And as you can see, we get the opposite. 3 times -4, -12. 3 times 2, it's going to be 6. Now, we eliminate the variable x because we have -6 and 6 is 0. So we eliminate this one. And we are going to work just with the rest of the numbers. So in this case, we are going to work with y and the constant. So we have 10 minus 12, it's going to be -2y. -2y equal 2 plus 6 is going to be 8. Then we divide by -2 here, and the 8 we divide by -2. So we are going to have -2 divided by -2, it's going to be y, equal 8 divided by -2 is going to be -4. And we get the value for y. Remember, we need to use this value in the second step to solve the second equation. Okay, so and remember, you can eliminate -2 divided by -2 give us 1. Okay, that's the reason that we have only y. So then in the second step, remember, you have to replace this value, get it in the equation 1. So I'm gonna use this part. I'm gonna choose one of this one. So I'm gonna use the first one. So it's gonna be -3x plus 5y equals to 1. And we need to replace the value for y in this function. So how are we going to do this? We're going to do it like that. It's gonna be -3x plus 5 times y. What is the value for y? Here we have -4 equals to 1. Then we are going to do -3x 5 times negative 4, it's negative 20, equals to 1. Then negative 3x equal 1 plus 20. Then we're going to have negative 3x equal 1 plus 20, it's 21. Negative 3 over 3 over negative 3 because we need to have 1 equals 21 divided by negative 3. Remember, we divide both sides by negative 3 to keep the equality in the equation. So we divide this one and we're going to have only x equals to negative 7. X equals to negative 7 because 21 divided by negative 3, it's negative 7. And at the end, we are going to close this one as a negative 7. So we have the value for x and the value for y. Finally, we are going to write our solution. Remember, it's x and y. So we are going to write the solution. And it's going to be the value for x is negative 7 and the value for y is negative 4. Negative 4. Remember, it's important to follow these steps and to keep the opposite numbers, like this one. That's the reason that this method is called elimination. Remember, we have substitution and by graphing. But in this case, we are using elimination and we have to get the opposite value. And as you can